So what's happened over the last year and a half is that COVID essentially stopped hospitality in its tracks. Both hotels and food and beverage industry came to a grinding halt, and tourism, as we know it, stopped. People stopped traveling, and a hotel like Townhouse, which was once sort of an iconic hotel in the city of Cape Town, needed to be repurposed because literally overnight it became irrelevant, inverted commas, because people weren't staying here. And that's a reflection of the entire hospitality industry. It's not just Townhouse. The history and the culture and the original hotel that Townhouse was is and still is incredible. And so what we needed to do as a team is understand how to bring that life back to it.
Welcome to the Neighbourgood.
What's up, guys? My name's Chedza. I'm from Neighbourgood East City. Today we're going to give you guys insight into the area around us, some of the local hotspots, and yeah, just get you guys involved with what we're trying to do here. Let's go! Neighbourgood, we found each other actually through a mutual colleague of Murray's and myself, who had luckily connected me with the biggest and best opportunity that's ever happened to me in my life. Yeah, I've essentially hopped on a plane one Monday morning, thanks to Murray, and I haven't looked back since. It's been 4 months, you know, a lot of challenges, a lot of growth, a lot of exciting times, unreal opportunities, and a great team to work with. So that's all you need to know about East City, but there's so much more for you to come and find out. We've got everything in the world here waiting for you guys. Get a look at the view, get a look at us, get a look at Neighbourgood.
And so COVID essentially gave us an opportunity because overnight everything changed. And Neighbourgood is a solution to that problem. It ultimately integrates a layered approach, a layered modern approach to living and working spaces that are underpinned by a community. And so our model is a long-term, and we call it long-term, but our flexible leases are 3, 6, 9, and 12 months. We integrate it with workspace, we connect to the neighborhood, we support small and local business as a function of trying to be hyper-local and be contextually appropriate to our neighborhood. Just so you know, it's like Bread, Milk and Honey as an example was down the road. Their space wasn't as great as it could be potentially, and so what we did is we took a business that was already working, we just made it better. And that's social innovation. It's about seeing what's working and making it better and bringing it to light. So yeah, the opportunity really has been for us to rebrand it, breathe life into it, invest capital into the common areas, which we've done, so ground and first floor, and then essentially designing those spaces for people to connect with one another. If we look at the last 18 months, we've all lived really isolated lives, and so Neighbourgood is about bringing people together because we feel like people thrive in community, and then obviously we connect all of our sites across the city of Cape Town as well. So over the last year or so, we've launched 5 to 6 locations, and when you become a member of our spaces, you've got access to all of those spaces. So it's not just about this building, it's about the entire neighborhood, and more importantly, the entire city of Cape Town.
That door closed and I have bottlenecks falling into the space. We can move it, you know, that's not a problem.
So the challenge obviously with repurposing space is that you've got to work within the confines of the existing space. So when you repurpose a space, you've got to understand the makeup of the building, what you can and can't do, whereas when you build from ground up, completely new, you can design anything. The pros to repurposing a space like Townhouse is that it's way more sustainable. Repurposing for us is part of our DNA. There's a lot of empty buildings across the city, and we'd rather repurpose and recycle than build new. And that's once again bringing good to neighborhoods and revitalizing space that essentially is no longer relevant and making it relevant by breathing life into it. Through the construction process, we decided to focus on the common areas where people spend 90% of their time, and essentially designing kitchens and shared common spaces that essentially bring people together. We worked with an unbelievable construction development management team, unbelievable designers who share our DNA. We specifically work with good people, inverted commas. Through a decision we made very early on, we only ever wanted to surround ourselves with good people. It's in our name. It's about continuing that process and working with people who share our DNA. And so the build process has actually been a seamless one.
Luckily for me, I've had the unique experience of arriving on day one when we swapped from Townhouse Hotel to Neighbourgood East City, literally watching the signage come up, and I've seen the space change from an old school, classic, historical hotel look to a vibrant, dynamic space. Definitely one that some friends of mine as well have commented like how great they've seen the change, and one that's way more inviting than what the old school style looked like. We've definitely had a lot of aches and pains, but luckily with every problem we are trying to provide a solution. So we're back up and running, and I think it's been cool.
Over the last 4 months from taking over on the 1st of May, we've spent all of our time and energy on really sort of understanding what the future of this space is going to look like. We took parts of the ground floor and converted it into an unbelievable cafe, which is our Bread, Morgan Honey. We removed any sort of obstructive or old school reception areas that may not be relevant now. We made it permeable, we made it open. We worked with a really cool local barber, a guy called Marco from Get Groomed. We brought him into what was the old manager's office. We created sort of a really cool mix of tenants and members of Neighbourgood now. And then on our first floor, which is like sort of the centerpiece of our entire building, is just filled with life. There's libraries, there's common co-work spaces, there's shared kitchens, there's places where you can connect with one another, and I think this is where the energy of the entire space is going to end up being. So the construction process ultimately was a simple one, and it's from beginning to end has been actually really amazing. And that's a function of the teams that we work with, because they've actually been nothing less than remarkable, to be honest. So we're lucky and we're blessed, obviously, and the same goes to say for our other construction projects. I think when you decide to work with good people, the upside is that you get a good result, and I think that's what we've achieved here.
What would you want guests or members to say to their friends after they've had a short or long stay at EC?
Essentially, I'd want them to say that the vibe was so nice that they never wanted to leave, that there was something for them, no matter who they were, and that they just felt welcome at home. East City is for everyone. It's for the creative, it's for the digital nomad, the lawyer, the young professional, the grad student, anyone that has a need for community. I think being in such a great location, it allows us to attract a whole diverse bunch of people, and just the physical makeup of where we are, all roads lead to here.
Ultimately, we're about bringing good to neighborhoods. So if we can leave a little bit of our DNA with the person that stayed here, in the way that it can potentially, they can take that and bring it into their own life. What does it mean to be good to your neighbor? What does it mean to greet someone when they walk past? What does it mean to bring warmth to someone's life? So Neighbourgood as a concept is about doing exactly that. It's about leaving the world a better place than we found it. I would hope that in staying with us, you then identify with that yourself and you think about your own life a little bit differently in terms of how you interact with the world. Because the world needs more sustainability, it needs more warmth, it needs more goodness, and that's ultimately what we're about as a team. The physical space is just a means to an end. So it's about that rich culture, it's about all of those things that I've just said now that I think we'd like to leave people when they stay with us.